In this video, I'm going to be showing you exactly how to do an interior detail with 5 simple steps. So I'll also be going over the supplies you'll need for this job, and here's pretty much all you're going to need. Some type of interior cleaner, microfiber towels of course, a brush to get in those small spaces, and then a vacuum to clean up the floors. This is to show you that you could get started with less than $75. The first step is going to be to remove all the floor mats in the vehicle and any personal belongings. Now that we got all the floor mats removed, you're going to check for personal belongings and any extra trash around the vehicle. Everything is completely cleared out of the inside, doors, behind the seats, in the console. It's now ready for us to go in with our cleaner and detail this thing. We're going to move on to step 2. This is going to be cleaning all the hard plastics, vinyls, and leathers. So that's going to include the doors, the complete dash area, the entire console, seats, and the trims as well. Personally, I always start with the doors first, just the system that I prefer. To me, it's the quickest way to get this done. You're going to spray your interior detailing product all across the door panel. Don't worry about getting buttons wet or the speakers, not a big deal. Once you got everything covered, you're letting that dwell, sit, and eat up the dirt. And then you're gonna grab your brush to hit the smaller nooks and crannies, like all these buttons here, any split in between the leather and around the handle as well. Anywhere basically you can't reach with your hands. Spray more if needed. Make sure you get behind the handle. There you go, now you're ready to wipe. Typically when you're in the sun, what I like to do is hit it with one more mist, just in case the product dried on the door. It's gonna be way easier to remove. Grab your microfiber towel and then begin to clean up all the product. Of course, when you're detailing the inside of a car, it's way more ideal to have an air compressor with attachments. It could still be done by hand. It's just gonna take a little more time, which is no problem. Personally, I always start with the doors first. You don't have to, it's just the system I prefer, and to me, it's the quickest way to get this done. So we're gonna do this. Now we're gonna be moving on to the dirtiest part of the interior. It's gonna be the steering wheel. My favorite method for this is just to spray the product directly into your rag, wrap it around the steering wheel, and grip that. Once the outside of the steering wheel is all cleaned up, you can go in with your detail brush and your product, spray directly in so you're not spraying it around the gauge cluster and making a huge mess for yourself to clean up, and clean the rest of it. Just make sure you get all around, every crack, every crevice. You could adjust the steering wheel as well to make it easier. And then repeat the same process with the doors. Go ahead and clean up the product. Moving on to the center console area where you have all these electronics and buttons, you're going to want to do the same thing you just did on the steering wheel. Rather than spraying the product directly onto the panel, just go ahead and spray some into the brush so you're not oversaturating the electronics and making things too wet, potentially damaging them. Now, a problem you might face, since we're not working with the air compressor, is properly cleaning these vents. Your best bet is going to be to use the brush to clean inside. Once that's nice and cleaned and scrubbed down, you could use the corner of the microfiber to squeeze inside to dry it. Of course, it's a little more time consuming, but it looks just as good as if you're doing it with an air compressor. There you go, clean vent. In most cases, to clean the dash, you could get away with just using the product and a microfiber like this one here. Not too dirty, mostly just dusty. If you're in the case where you have a dirtier dash, all you'd have to do is use your detailing brush to agitate the dirtier areas. But since this isn't too bad at all, we could just let the product do its magic and clean for us. So now that we have the driver's side completely finished, driver's side door, steering wheel, dash, center console, all detailed and cleaned up, in a 4-door vehicle, I would just move around in a circle. Since this is a 2-door, I'm just gonna hop to the other side and repeat the same exact process. So now we're gonna move on to detailing the seats. First thing you wanna do is move them all the way forward. That way you can move them all the way back so you get all the way down into this crack here. And if the seats you're working on have a thigh extender, make sure to move those all the way out as well. So now we have the seat all the way up, the back all the way tilted to the back, the thigh extender completely out. So now we have the most surface area to work on, and we're not gonna miss anything. Now when it comes to cleaning, I always start from top to bottom. With seats, they're gonna be pretty dirty, so you wanna use the most agitation as possible. So I'm pretty much gonna be using the detail brush to agitate the entire seat to make sure we get it as clean as possible. Go ahead and wipe it up. Make sure it's completely dry. Don't want to leave any product behind whatsoever. All the way to the bottom, in between the cracks. And now you're just going to repeat the same exact process on the bottom half of the seat. Well, spot I see people miss all the time when they're cleaning seats are these side controls here. So same process with the console and button on the doors. You're just gonna use the product straight into the brush, not too much at all, because they are electrical parts, and just detail around the cracks and crevices. And just go ahead and wipe any excess product. All right, so we just finished up cleaning both of the seats. Notice how the leather is flat. There's no shine to it at all, and that's exactly what you want to be looking for. If it's completely flat, no shine, just nice and smooth, you know you got clean leather. Now that we got the seats all cleaned up, we're gonna move to this door trim right here, get the plastic nice and clean, and then we'll move on to vacuuming. All right, so now we're gonna use our shop vac to vacuum the interior. This is super self-explanatory. Only thing you wanna do when you're doing the front, move the seat all the way back. And then of course, when you're doing the back, move the seat all the way front. And then get in between the seats on the door jamb and the console, because that's gonna be the first place people look and typically the most dirty. And then of course, if a vehicle has a trunk, in this case, this car has 2 trunks, you're gonna wanna clean out and vacuum those as well. And then of course, if a vehicle has a trunk, in this case, this car has 2 trunks, you're gonna wanna clean out and vacuum those as well. All right, so we got the entire interior all vacuumed, both trunks, and now the next step is going to be to clean the floor mats. So of course, when they're carpet, pretty simple, you just vacuum. If there's small stains, you can literally just use that interior spray and a rag to clean it if it's not too bad. If you have rubber mats, the best way to go about it is going to be to use your interior detailer, something to agitate it like a brush, and then you always want to finish it off with some type of shine. But in this case, we just have some carpet mats, so we'll vacuum it really nice and spray a little bit interior and work it in with the microfiber. So now that's all vacuumed, you can still kind of see there's some dirty spots in here. It's not too bad at all, but all you can do to fix that, spray it with some interior cleaner and hit it with a dry rag to get rid of all those spots. There you have it, nice clean carpet floor mats ready to put back inside. All right, now the final step, everything's clean, seats, carpets, floor mats, doors. The final step is going to be to clean off the infotainment screen, the gauge clusters, and the rest of the windows. So you want to grab a fresh microfiber towel, completely dry, and your glass cleaner. So the best way to get some streak-free glass every single time is by wiping with one side. So this side is going to be your wet side, and then keep one side dry the entire time to buff it, to remove any streaks. So spray directly on the towel and work in straight motions, left to right, top to bottom. Make sure you get all the edges in the corners, top to bottom, all the way in the corner, and then flip to your dry side and give it a nice buff. And then you'll repeat the same exact process on the rest of the windows and the infotainment center. Another thing you want to do every time you do an interior detail, this should be a standard if you're doing an exterior, but a lot of people skip out on this, and this is the door jamb. When you're doing an interior only, it's great to have a solid barrier between the clean inside and the dirty outside. So you don't just want to leave this untouched. Make sure you clean up this door jamb. It makes a huge difference. And then another thing you want to do every time you do an interior detail. All right, so there you have it. There's exactly how you do an interior detail with 5 simple steps. This is something you could literally do with the tools and products you have probably laying around in your garage. You could charge upwards of $150 minimum for a service like this. If you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, drop a comment down below. Give us some video recommendations for what you guys would like to see.